We've got this Four Horsemen two-part documentary. David Morgan's in, my guest. I want you to go to davidheavener.tv. I want you to watch it. We've just released it just tonight. It's an amazing documentary. We're talking about the Four Horsemen. We just talked about the first horseman. That horseman's coming to slaughter, and we talked about how we've gotten fat, fed, and sleepy for this slaughter. David, now we're going to talk about how it happened. The clip that's going to come up talks about the baby boomers.
The baby boomer generation were born into this age of decadence. Perhaps unwittingly, they've broken the unspoken intergenerational contract. Through unfettered consumerism, spiraling house prices, and a desire for eternal youth, the baby boomers have squandered future generations' inheritance.
My generation, the generation right after my generation, I think we forgot that little phrase in the preamble to our Constitution, which says, "and our posterity." All of a sudden it became us, period.
The baby boom generation, which I'm a part of, has gone and done the biggest misallocation of capital in the history of mankind. We have had cheap oil, or cheap energy is a better way to phrase it. We've had an abundance of ideas, and we have chosen a system and perpetuated it that is probably one of the worst ways to use the blessings that were bestowed upon us. And we are going to pay a price for that.
Human beings are inconsistent and paradoxical. We hope for peace and immortality, but continually invent new ways to destroy each other. We're capable of the kindest, most noble acts and the most horrific atrocities.
Human beings are complex creatures. I mean, for example, we're capable right now, at this minute, of acting in such a way as to make it likely, if not certain, that our grandchildren are going to face terrible disasters. And we're consciously acting to accelerate that likelihood, even though we all love our grandchildren. How can you be more contradictory than that?
In spite of all the economic activities of last 50, 60, 70 years since the Second World War, and all the industrialization, we have not yet managed to solve the problem of poverty, deprivation, hunger, malnutrition. Millions of people every night go to bed without food. And millions of people are throwing away their food. Waste on the one hand, and poverty and deprivation and hunger on the other hand. Malnutrition on the one hand, and obesity on the other hand. What kind of system have we created?
Why, with such brilliant knowledge on the planet, are we still struggling to distribute wealth fairly? How has the human race developed a flawed system of government and economics that serves the few at the expense of the many? And with such poverty in an age of plenty, why have we not had the will to change such a vicious social structure?
Greed is the fundamental kind of ingredients for the immoral economy. The problem is not that there is not enough in the world. People say that there is a poverty, we have to create more wealth. There is enough in the world for everybody's need, but not for anybody's greed.
But is it just greed, or does it go deeper than that? Is the problem systemic?
The second horse. Let's go to Revelation 6, 3 and 4. Revelation 6, 3 and 4. When the Lamb opened the second seal, I heard the second living creature say, "Come," and another horse went out, fiery red this time. Its rider was given permission to take peace away from the earth so that people would kill one another. He was given a great sword. This is the red horse, the horse of war, the horse of hate. And it seems like that the baby boomers, and I'm one of them, okay, we have been so lackadaisical. We have we bought into the illusion. We're going to talk about this, of how in the world could there be people starving to death down the street from us, and we've got huge buffets that we're cramming our face. How could there be such a division? How could we let the enemy get away with this? David Morgan, what say you, brother?
I think we started off with maybe the idea of making a difference in the right direction and completely lost it.
Yeah, but why? What happened if you wanted to drive a little car and save fuel and carpool, and you had all these ideals when you were young, you get older? What happened? What was the enemy? What was the illusion? What did we buy into? I say you, it's me too. It's all of us to a certain extent. What was the enemy feeding us? There was something in us that was craving. What do you think that was?
Well, as I said in the first clip, you can never get enough of what you don't need. We're taught basically by the powers that be, and I say a subconscious level that they're masters at, that you are not going to have a happy life unless you have a shiny new car every 2 years. You're not going to be happy at life unless you have a McMansion. You're not going to be happy at life unless you get, a new suit of clothes every 6 months or whatever. Right. And these things are subtle, but they're pervasive. They're all the time, 24/7. They go on and on and on. And even though you say they're just ads and they don't make a difference in my life, the next thing you know, you're down there shopping and you're thinking, you're not going to afford that one, or maybe I should get two. It is two for the price of one, and this type of thing. And it's subtle but pervasive. And I think that's where we go wrong. Rather than standing for your ideals and say, I'm never going to drive a car that doesn't get 40 miles to the gallon. You couldn't find a car that got 40 miles to the gallon.
Well, that's true. David, I believe what it is we have a need for God to fill us. Okay. We need God in us. And I believe because of the religious system preaching an apostate Jesus, a false Jesus, we bought into this. We bought into the Six Flags Over Jesus preacher saying, you can have it all, your best life now. You drive that car, you can make that money. God wants you to have this money. You see, this was all part of it. And I'm nailing, and I'm putting up those Six Flags Over Jesus preachers. And you don't have to be in a Six Flag, brother. You can be some little dinky old church. But don't you agree that it's really spiritual? We're craving spiritually. We starve that and we try to cram it with material stuff.
Absolutely. Again, you can't get enough of what you don't need. What you do need is a spiritual foundation, and you need that so strongly, and it's so pervasive in your life personally that you could have everything, lose it all, and still be the same human being. That is spiritually fit.
Absolutely.
Someone that had that $12 million of 10 mansions, a private jet, 4 Rolls Royces, and loses it all, but owns his own life because he's spiritually or she's spiritually fit in the Lord, totally there. I'm not talking about make-believe. I'm talking about the real deal. Yeah. It wouldn't matter, because what really matters is there. But so few people even know what you're talking about to make that statement. They have no idea that someone is actually capable of that. That's impossible because they're so addicted to what is taught to them as this stuff, but you can't take any of it with you. We all know that. Yeah. And we are seeking with stuff. So if I just go on another minute, in that clip, we get all that stuff and we realize that's not it. That's not it. Right. But no one gives us the foundational wherewithal that we used to get when we were less materialistic and more God-based, where you learn from an early age where everything comes from, and you worship the creator, not the creation. And if you have a fundamental beginning that's very simple to a 3, 4, 5-year-old child, and they get that, and they get it not only intellectually, but they get it in their heart of hearts, now you have a society that basically runs on a moral principle that everybody understands. Do we adhere to it 100% of the time? No, but that's the ideal, and we all know it.
David, the insanity of it is that we love our grandchildren. We love our children. We want to protect them. We want them to be okay. And yet we borrow beyond belief. We're borrowing into our children's future. I don't want to get into that right now because that's going to be when we come back our next segment. But the insanity of the boomers, of us doing what we've done to our grandchildren, because they're going to have to pay all this debt back. And yet we say, oh, come here, baby, I'm going to take care of you. Nobody's going to hurt you. Papa's got you, you know. That's insanity, David. It's insanity. And one other thing's insanity before I let you go here is the insanity is that you've got all these people wanting to feed people, you know, and look at the big buffets that they throw all this food out in the dumpster, right? And yet you've got a person starving to death down the street. You've got this separation of society now. Make a comment on that, and then we're going to go take a break. And when we come back, we're going to dive into this thing called the banking system.
Well, my comment is the system is broken, and it's been that way for a long time. And it's not a magic wand to fix it. There's a lot of fundamentals that we've missed, we lacked, and we don't adhere to anymore. Yeah.
Well, this second horse, this red horse of war and hate, it has created the war. It's created the hate.
The time has come for God's people to take a stand. Legalize Jesus. Text 71777, the word chosen, to 71777, or go to davidheavener.tv/chosen. Join the movement.